Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. In the Xianxia land, the dome above the land stretched tens of thousands of miles high, surrounded only by clouds. It was so high to the point that an ordinary person would never be able to reach the top even if they used up all their strength. It was at that moment that several figures stood there in this place. If those mortals from the lower realm could stand where they were, their jaws would drop in shock. Their legs would simply go limp as they knelt to the ground, trembling while being unable to say a word. This was because the 6 most powerful emperors of the Xianxia land had stood above them for tens of thousands of years. They were, the Purgatory Demon Lord, Jack, the Eternal Lord, Mumbus, the Nether King of the Void, Bander, the Demonic Night Blood God, Claude, the 9 Dragons Emperor, Osifo, and the Evil Spirit Queen, Scylla. I'm leaving. A voice rang out in the Emperor's ears. It was only then that they dared to look up. Several kilometers above them, there was a young man standing calmly. If any mortal were to notice this young man at that moment, they would have trembled and knelt down before him. At the same time, they would know why the 6 emperors were in such a position. In the entire world, the only person who could make the 6 emperors raise their heads and look up at him was none other than the Celestial Emperor himself. The Heavenly Emperor of the Infinite Realms, Austin. They did not know where the Heavenly Emperor of the Infinite Realms had hailed from. All they knew was that when Austin had been transported here from another world, he had started out as a nobody. Step by step, he trained and grew stronger. In just the blink of an eye, he had quickly raised himself to become the youngest emperor in the history of Xianxia land, and in the shortest amount of time too. However, just when everyone thought that Austin had reached the peak of his power by becoming an emperor and was about to reach a standstill, Austin's next move shocked everyone once again. Austin relied on his powerful strength to take the initiative to attack all the other emperors within this world. In the end, he fought 3 emperors at the same time and eventually killed them all. After this particular battle, Austin finally broke through the shackles of heaven and earth, becoming a god that had advanced through the Heavenly Emperor realm. At this point, Austin was truly the ruler of the Xianxia land and its surrounding continents. At the same time, the 6 strongest emperors of the land also changed. After Austin killed the 6 strongest people, his own subordinates replaced them. These subordinates were the 6 people standing under Austin's feet. Purgatory Demon Lord Jack. He was originally just a flame seed that existed on the land. After he was enlightened by Austin, he followed Austin step by step and grew up. Eventually, he became the Flame Demon Lord that everyone in the continent feared as he controlled hell itself. The Eternal Lord, Mumbus. At the beginning, he was just a prison gatekeeper. He was also casually guided by Austin because the other found him pleasing to the eye. After that, he awakened his life force and became an emperor, allowing him to control the life force of beings on the planet. The Nether King of the Void, Bander, Demonic Night Blood God, Claude, and the 9 Dragons Emperor, Osifo, the 3 of them had surrendered the moment Austin had showed up. Up until now, they had become emperors and were in charge of the Void World, the Demon World and the Dragon Domain. As for the Evil Spirit Queen Scylla, she had been protecting Austin since the beginning. Even after becoming an emperor, she had only been protecting Austin. When they heard Austin say, "I'm leaving," the 6 emperors who spent their days looking down upon millions of people all revealed a look of reluctance on their faces. "After I leave, this continent will be under all your control. Without my restrictions, you will definitely be able to live more freely. You might even have the chance to break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm on your own. There's no need to be sad." Looking at the 6 people who were reluctant to let him, Austin said these words calmly to reassure them. Jack's eyes became anxious. The great emperor knelt to the ground as he said painfully to Austin, who was above his head, "My lord, our lifelong pursuit is not to achieve the Heavenly Emperor realm like you. Instead, we hope to follow you forever and protect you." "That's right, my lord. No matter where you go, we are willing to follow you forever, my lord." Claude also knelt down and said firmly, "My lord, please take us with you." Scylla's beautiful eyes looked at Austin, who was up in the sky. There was no longer any aura of the evil spirit queen emitting from her body. She was just like a maid who wished to follow her master. She felt decisive about her decision in this time. Austin finally spoke up, "It's not that I don't want to take you guys with me. It's just that I want to return to my hometown. That world is called Earth and it's completely different from the Xianxia land. It's unsuitable for the rest of you guys if you follow me." Austin spoke slowly. At the same time, his voice fell and there was a whooshing sound. Thousands of stars shattered before everyone's eyes as a crack appeared in the sky. This was an ability that could only be obtained after ascending to the Heavenly Emperor realm. With a casual wave of his hand, he tore apart the sky. When the 6 emperors saw this scene, their eyes were filled with shock. They immediately knelt down on one knee and spoke in unison, "We bid farewell to the Heavenly Emperor." A voice sounded from behind him as Austin walked straight into the spatial rift. There was a space fluctuation in front of him that he was shuttling through the turbulence of this space-time rift. Austin could not help but recall all the previous events that had happened during his life there. Everyone in the Xianxia land knew that he had teleported from another world and eventually became the Heavenly Emperor. However, no one knew that his hometown was Earth. After he rose to become the Heavenly Emperor, everyone in the Xianxia land could no longer compete with him. It was not until he became the strongest in the world that he inadvertently recalled his hometown and his friends back home. He did not know how they were doing. For this reason, he did not hesitate to use his divine power to open a space passage, wanting to return to Earth to take a look again. Having planned it right from the start, he had already activated the power of the stars and calculated the location of Earth's distance from the Xianxia land. Next, he just needed to wait for his destination to appear before him. It was at this moment that Austin's eyes moved. Suddenly, he discovered that hundreds of kilometers in front of him, a massive spatial turbulence was raging. The spatial turbulence was extremely wild and reckless and at the same time, extremely difficult to pass through. An ordinary emperor would be torn into pieces if he were to attempt passing through. However, this was just a casual matter to Austin. He raised his hand and a majestic, divine power surged out. The space turbulence several hundred kilometers away instantly surged. Right then, boom! A loud sound rang out, as if the starry sky had begun to shatter. The space turbulence shattered and his journey continued as usual. However, what Austin didn't notice was that the place where the space ripples had spread out had already disturbed his previously calculated location within the distance of tens of millions of light years. The difference of just a single millimeter would skew things beyond belief. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.